Hello, this is Nicole Bonds, and thank you for being a part of my YouTube channel. And I want to talk to you about something that's very near and dear to my heart, something that I've struggled with throughout my life, and I think it may encourage you today. Perhaps you found yourself at a place where you've been waiting on something to happen. You've done all the footwork, you've done your vision board, you've written in your journal, and you got it all down. Not only that, you've prayed about it, you feel like you have a good, feeling that God's going to do it. You've gotten talked to your mentors, and it feels like this is just right. Only thing is when you think it's going to happen, it just doesn't happen. What do? When you find yourself at a place where you're waiting on a promise and it seems like that promise is never going to come? I want to remind you of a story found in 1 Samuel with Hannah, which is one of my very favorite characters in the Bible. Hannah had favor from the Lord. She had favor with her husband, Elkanah. But what was interesting was there was one thing that Hannah did not have. That was a child. She wanted a child more than anything. Could you imagine, year after year, Elkanah had two wives, and in this case, she was the one that could not produce a child. So year after year, when they would go to sacrifice and go to worship, she was always being taunted by the other wife. Hey, look what I have and look what you don't have. She was faithful to God. She was faithful to her husband. She loved him, and he loved her. As a matter of fact, he always saved extra for her because she was the favored one. And how could a woman whose name means grace and favor be at a place where she's infertile and cannot produce? And then we find it in the Bible. Hannah gets to her breaking point. When she gets to her breaking point, some of us, what do when we get our breaking point? We maybe eat too much. Maybe we do something we really shouldn't have done. Maybe we curse God or get mad at God. But one thing that Hannah did, she got to a place where she could not even eat. And when she got to that place, he says, you know what, hon, you need to eat something. It's going to be okay. Am not I better to you than all the other things that can be given to you? But what's interesting is she gets to the place where she goes to the temple to pray. When she gets to the temple, she finds there's a priest there named Eli. He sees this woman who's desperate. She's in this place. She's crying out to God, but it's like her mouth is moving, but there's no words. And so here he is thinking, something's wrong with this lady. She's probably drunk. He even says, hey, you know what? You need to lay off. She says, hey, I'm not drunk. I'm just pouring out my heart to God. Have you ever got to a place where you felt like, I just got to pour myself out to God? God, do you hear me? Do you understand? What do you do when you feel like your prayers are being answered? But I love this because even after she explained herself to Eli, he prayed on her behalf, and he said the Lord would grant her request. The Bible goes on to say that before the end of that year, she conceived a child, and his name was Samuel. Why is that so important? Samuel had to come at the time when he could be the replacement for Eli and his sons, who had not really done all the things they could have done for God. So sometimes the thing that you really want, it's not that God doesn't want to give it to you, but there's a timing. There's a timing where it's perfect timing. It's called due season. It's a time when everything begins to line up and you're able to walk into the things of God. So I want to encourage you today, just like Hannah waited, she prayed and she prayed. It wasn't that God didn't want to give it to her, but she had to wait on the timing of God. When she waited on the timing of God, everything she desired, God granted to her. I want to encourage you today, no matter what you're going through, that the timing of God is perfect. Don't be anxious. Don't worry. Don't stress. If God said it, that settles it. God's word will not lie. I hope this has encouraged you today. Listen, if I can get about 25 of you to subscribe and click that you enjoyed it with the thumbs up, I'll do another video. Don't forget to subscribe to Nicole Bonds Live. Take care. God bless.